I consume a lot of content that has to do with crime. There, I said it. I listen to interrogation analysis videos while I work, and you know what? It's scary and uncomfortable. But it's also very intriguing to get a look into the mind of these killer criminals. With that in mind, let's jump right into the most popular video on the JCS Criminal Psychology YouTube channel, what pretending to be crazy looks like. If you haven't already seen it and don't have an hour to spare, let me fill you in. On February 14th, 2018, 19-year-old Nicholas Cruz entered Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School and took the lives of 17 individuals, and he injured 17 more. Once captured by police, he took on this whole act of pretending to hear demons and voices that told him to do this. He wanted to act insane to avoid severe consequences. I use air quotes when I say this because there's something that's quite well known by the public and not well known to criminals for some reason. Mental health facilities aren't better than jail, especially the type that a guy like Cruz thinks he's going to be sent to. I mean, I've only been to the adolescent unit of mental hospitals, and I still had my life threatened along with everybody else, so yeah, it's not pretty over there. It's a lose-lose situation, really, but I digress. The video shows Cruz's, albeit not great, attempt at tricking the police officers into thinking he's crazy, while still showing the telltale signs of being proud of his actions. Following the video, Cruz ended up going to trial and laughing along with his defense in court. This sort of behavior is unfortunately anything but rare for mass shooters who live past their reign of terror. Another well-known school shooter, TJ Lane, was seen laughing and making crude gestures and awful remarks during his trial while wearing a shirt with the word killer brandished on the front. These two are living, breathing examples of terrible people who committed horrendous actions. But would you believe me if I said these people have a fan base? Unfortunately, that is the case. Unlike other killers that I'll be discussing later on, these two are alive and are very much informed about their fan base as they receive packages and letters from these fans. Another example of this is the Aurora movie theater shooter, James Holmes. He went on to receive racy pictures of his fans to enjoy during his life sentence in prison. I'm sorry. Life plus 3,318. 3318. This isn't even a new thing either. The only relatively new thing is the internet, where we can read about people talking about this, discussing their obsession with these people. Let's go back to the 90s. The Milwaukee cannibal himself, Jeffrey Dahmer, had his fair share of fans. He had numerous women sending him money, letters, gifts, all while he was behind bars. The 70s were no better, with Ted Bundy getting the same treatment. Same with Richard Ramirez, Charles Manson, Timothy McVeigh. Now this, the attraction to criminals, is called Hybristophilia. It can sometimes be referred to as Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. And it's basically a freaky deaky version of someone having a crush on their local bad boy delinquent type. In my most recent video, we discussed Gypsy Rose Blanchard's very public online love triangle, and that honestly fits in pretty perfectly here too. It's not exclusive to male criminals. Gypsy Rose, all these guys knew about her was that she killed her mother and she was abused. And she still got tons of fan letters and ended up marrying like 2 of these guys. Circling back to mass shooters, these troubled individuals seem to have their own separate fan base. Many of them are younger, okay-looking guys with interests in topics that could be seen as taboo. Randy Stair liked pop punk, cartoons, and making YouTube videos. Adam Lanza liked Dance Dance Revolution and anime. Brandon Scott Hull was a brony. And Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold liked industrial rock and metal, like Rammstein or Nine Inch Nails. These details can humanize these really honestly scummy people and make them likable to some. And many of their fans are seemingly in high school themselves. Not only that, but unfortunately, they seem just as troubled as the gunmen they look up to. A lot of TikTok accounts in the true crime community, or TCC, have discussed being bullied and feeling like an outcast, and even being mentally ill. They say they use tragedies like these as an escape of their own reality. The internet is teeming with TCC blogs. One well-known case of a TCC blogger was a girl by the name of Sol Pais. She was a very well-known Columbiner, so everyone was pretty worried when she went missing. They were worried she'd be a harm to herself or others. April 20th, 2019 was set to be the 20th anniversary of the attack. but it fell on a Sunday. So people felt a little safer, but schools were still closed throughout the week. She was found in Colorado, but unfortunately she had taken her own life. Her body was found on April 17th, 2019. But as I said, this sort of stuff is still going on. People still make plenty of content having to do with the TCC. While researching for this video, I was looking at the TCC TikTok around all that area, and I saw someone say in a comment that their parents were threatening to send them to therapy. I don't know what you want me to say other than congratulations. If your parents are willing to get you help, that's awesome. Not all people are lucky enough to have parents that care enough about mental health. If I didn't have my family or my girlfriend who all prioritize mental health, I would be in a completely different boat than I'm in right now. An unmedicated, scary boat. Being open about all this stuff going on inside your head, it can be really scary. Trust me. I know I'm on a crap ton of different meds, but it's really worth it if you can find peace with the help that you're being given. Many of the teens into the TCC make art and edits of their killer of choice. The edits can be photos like this, or fan cam style edits made from old footage of the killers prior to their attack. Randy Stair and Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, they get the most treatment of these video edit sort of ones because, well, Randy Stair, he was a relatively popular YouTuber back in the day before his attack, and Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold, they made videos in their time in high school prior to their attack. The infamous basement tapes come to mind, and the pieces of footage that were leaked through evidence and everything, those are often made into like edits and stuff. There's also a lot of cosplayers who like to wear the outfits that killers wore on the day of their killing spree. Going back to Randy Stair, he had a natural selection shirt, and it is pretty decently known knowledge, at least people who are into true crime, that Eric Harris wore a natural selection shirt on the day of the shooting. And not only do they cosplay as these killers, they do TikTok dances in these cosplays. And not only that, but there's a ton of gay fan fiction. I guess a lot of shooters are theorized to have repressed gay feelings or something. God, I feel like if I hate on this, I'll get the same treatment I got from my 7th grade best friend. All I said was I didn't want her to be reading 18 plus yaoi at school and showing me, and suddenly I'm homophobic? Girl, I was a lesbian when I told you that. I guess I shouldn't be complaining though, as a straight white man. I love the gays, really I do. But this is weird. I think what we can learn from this, and is a very important part of being in the TCC stuff, is to go to therapy, and it is to seek help. Professional mental help. What a lot of mass shooters lack is access to mental help. Either they refuse to be open about the struggles they're facing, or they're just neglected and their parents don't love them enough. They're minors and they can't go to therapy on their own. It's really sad to think about how these school shootings tend to happen. I was a bit of an edgy teenager myself. I would laugh about how messed up I was in the head, but really I was hurting. I was struggling. I was scared. Having these, I want to say, parasocial relationships with these killers is unhealthy. You're role-playing and pretending to be in love with them in a relationship. If you relate to the killers in different ways, that's fine. I'm not gonna deny that. I have plenty in common with these shooters, I'll be real. I like making YouTube videos. I like My Little Pony. I like anime. I like Rammstein. You can find stuff in common with these terrible people, but you don't have to idolize them. I mean, you can see where they went and choose to take a different road. You can take inspiration from them in a way as in a sense that you can take inspiration in a way as to not go that path, but don't look up to the things they've done. You can say Elephant was a good film. You can say 0 Day was a good film. But at the same time, you can also say these actions in these movies are terrible. And it's so sad that this sort of thing happens in real life and that these movies are based on true events. I'm not trying to come harsh into this video and say TCC fans are evil and gross and we should throw tomatoes at them. No, I'm not saying that. I came into this video ready to judge and make fun of these people, and while I did make some jokes, I can also see that these kids are broken and they need help. They need and deserve help. I mean, I'm mentally ill. I have many mental illnesses, and I know what an unhealthy obsession is. I was dating an anime character in my head for like 2 years. Shit's rough. But it gets better. And believe me, I hated hearing that phrase so much when I was 13 years old. But once I started making a bigger effort than what I thought I was already doing, things got better pretty quickly. And that may be different for some of you. It might take a while longer, but it does get better. As cliche as it sounds, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I went from being very mentally ill, very violent, I'm just gonna say crazy. And now I pay rent, I have a cat, I have a fiance, I have a car, I know how to drive now. There's so much that can happen in like 5 years, let's say. Give it 5 years and just try your best. I'm sorry to get preachy. It's just TCC, I don't hate you guys. I just really hope things get better for you soon. If any of you guys watching have had an interest at some point that took over a large chunk of your life, I want to hear about it. And if you have any sort of special interests that aren't TCC related, I want to hear about that too. I love hearing people ramble about the things they love. Let's just get a little bit of positivity going down in the comments. Try to make everybody a little happier. I don't really have a whole lot to say anymore. So I guess I'm going to end the video. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see ya when I see ya.